This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis, here for 2.0. I did a 1.0 before the season, and things have drastically changed at the top as the top high school recruits have not performed to their status from prior to the season. 1 and 2 remains the same, and you've been keeping up. Victor Wembenyama is basically a household name. They say he's the best prospect since LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Um, But this guy's got a little dog in him. Defensively, he's a game wrecker. Whether he's blocking shots or affecting things in the paint, moves very fluid for his 7'3" or 7'5" in shoes frame, as just reported. With Mets 92 this year, they've given him freedom to kind of do what he wants with the basketball, and we've seen some flashes of things we've never seen from someone this height. Whether that's one-footed, legged three-pointers. Whether that's just getting hot in the second half, your team needs it. He's got the 7 foot wingspan. He's got the mental makeup you want. He takes care of his body, which I think is the one concern from everybody is that being this height, typically injuries will follow. But that shouldn't affect you and where you draft here. I think this is a panning out to be like a Zion Ja Morant type of draft as far as who's gonna go number 1 and 2. And even though Zion's had the injuries at the time, it'd been a hard case to make for Ja. Even though right now it looks like it's worked out pretty good for Memphis at 2. That point guard of the future, Scoot Henderson. Although he's 6'2", um, he's got a 6'9" wingspan, so that helps make up for some of the deficiencies. And he's very strong. He's strong as a bull. He'll put you in the rim. Another fierce competitor and somebody that has leadership written all over him. And he's been wowing for the G League Ignite in his 2 years, prolonging his high school career. And he's taking a different route. And we see a Euro at 1. We see G League Ignite at number 2. Very excited to see about him. His question marks lie on maybe the consistency from 3, but I've seen flashes of him being able to put it on the floor and create some separation. At 3, I'm going to have to go with Brandon Miller. Being his size and his lights out shooting ability, he can fit in with basically any lineup. His catch and shoot is amazing. He can pull up off the dribble. He's got good feel. He competes at a hard level. It's hard for him to take plays off. So I do have him right now currently over my number 4 and 5 guy, which are twins. I'm in Thompson. Over in the overtime elite, they took a different route, and really nobody that can really mess with these two guys. 6'7", two most athletically gifted players in this draft. They have defensive versatility, which a lot of these players do. We see a lot of 3 and Ds. Only thing with Amin Thompson and Asur Thompson is their lack of shooting ability. They've been adjusting how they shoot the basketball. Everything else, part of the game is it's clear that these are NBA pros. Amin has a little bit of better vision. Thus, he's going to probably go higher when it's all said and done. But, I mean, I wouldn't sleep on Asur. So this is my 5th pick. Both of them, from everything that I've heard or listened to, is that they're great character guys. And they're very, very hardworking. They're in the gym early. So Amin Thompson's ball handling is impressive, whereas his brother can play off the ball. So those are my 4 or 5 guys, which leads me to 6. And in my 6 is a little higher than some other people's that I've been seeing around, and that is Keyonte George. Just being so consistent all season on being able to score the basketball, specifically off of the dribble. He makes some of the hardest shots that I've seen. He's part of that Team USA, U18, and he was part of the 3-on-3 team that won the championship. He was MVP there. So he gets his buckets in the half court, and he does have a solid frame. He competes defensively. So I don't see him as slouch there, but I think that's a bona fide NBA player for 10 to 12 years based on his shooting ability and his playmaking, honestly. And I don't think George is getting necessarily the notoriety that he should based on his consistent season. At 7, I'm going Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore, again with the Thompson twins, we're talking about his shooting ability and maybe that being a question mark going forward. But he's a bull. He will put you under the rim. He's strong. He's got the good 6'7", 230 frame with a 7-foot wingspan. He screams NBA pro as far as athleticism is concerned. He's mean. He's tough. Like he's got switchability. On Team USA, U19s, he was the guy. He was an MVP, and he shot lights out. He shot the best that he's ever shot in his basketball career. He's a gamer, but coming back off injury, he hasn't had just the greatest season for a Villanova team that's struggling without Jay Wright. At 8, Jarace Walker of Houston, someone that's not completely featured with his college basketball team, but does a little bit of everything, and he shows that he can score in the interior. He has some good feel where it shows that he could probably be pretty good at passing the ball too, and just a connector of all facets of the game. And 6'8", 240, he has that body that you could see him having some positional versatility, as well as just a wowing athlete that not everybody is gifted from God to have that. At 9, someone that's dropped quite a bit, Nick Smith, but I still got him 9. I'm not getting crazy. I'm not putting him all the way down and, in the teens or anything like that. And he just had his best game of the season against Alabama when he had 24 and 6 boards. And he looked like the best player on that Arkansas team. So we've kind of been going back and forth with his teammate Anthony Black, who looks like a bona fide lock to be a starting NBA point guard in the NBA. Nick Smith just got some sizzle, some of the best smooth offensive game that we have in this draft. Nice lefty. He's got a little floater game. He plays like he's listening to music. Like he's just got a beat of his own. It's hard to stay in front of him. So with that, with his prolific high school career, I don't skip out on a talent like Nick Smith because I think he's proved it then, even though he's not having a great freshman season. Anthony Black, I think this guy's going to be a walking triple-double at the next level. He has some Josh Giddiness as far as he just being a really big point guard that has good feel and can pass. Now, I'm not saying he's quite Josh Giddey, but in today's NBA, you see just more and more point guards being his size, and he's got a great feel. He plays well with other players. He's got good defense. Like he stays locked in when he's not guarding the ball, when he has to guard the ball. You like players like that. At 11, Gradey Dick. He's Gatorade Naismith Player of the Year in high school. He's part of that 3-on-3 team. Then we talked about Keyonte George, but the dude's locked in shooter. He makes difficult shots. He's got a very quick release. He can fit in with any team. And I think with that shooting ability, with his size, it's going to make him a long-term pro. And he's a safe pick in the lottery. And I wouldn't let him slip too hard because I think that this guy has winning ability all around. So give me Gradey Dick. At 12, someone that slipped big time, Dariq Whitehead. Now I'm just flat out say it's been a bad freshman season. He hasn't looked his normal self, like athletically, especially what I was seeing from Mount Vert. Like he was just so unstoppable to stay in front of this man. Shooting 93% from the free throw line is promising with his shot. I think that is going to be something to look at going forward. And this is kind of a smaller sample size as he's been plaguing through injuries. And I think that's really affecting him. But I know that it hasn't been the greatest freshman season, but based on his talent, I take a gamble in the late lottery, not, say what if on maybe some other picks that you think they're going to be good players. Because I think he could be a game changer for your team. Cason Wallace, all these are his high school stats. He gets after it on defense. He's shown some signs that he can be a catch and shoot threat. He's got good feel, but where he really gets after it is on defense. And he's 6'4", it seems like close to 200. He plays stronger. And hoping that shot develops because then you could have a combo guard that you can play with lineups that I think that he really hasn't clicked, and he might be that next Kentucky guard. Hey, when in doubt, choose a Kentucky guard. You have a good chance that those players are gonna pan out. Jett Howard at 14 wasn't on everybody's radar, but as soon as the season clicked, so did his game. It started to stay in front of this man. He creates separation with the best. He gets in the lane and does like little floaters. I see like when the game's on the line and we're in tight situations, they give the ball to Jett, and Jett gets a good shot out of it. So I just like his makeup. Of course, Juwan Howard's son. He does have an advantage being around the game and coming from such a great mind and playing for his dad right now. I love Jett Howard and definitely see him going in the early teens. At 15, G.G. Jackson, the top player of his class, reclassing to go forward. He was supposed to go to North Carolina, ended up in South Carolina, and it's been up and down season. He's had games where it's just like, okay, I could see why this guy could be a top 10 pick. And then other times, like he just gets his mouth in trouble, and I see some character things with him just being a young player, and that's why some of these other players that are around and have similar size and similar positions, I kind of value a bit over him. But it's undeniable that he does have the ability to like create separation with his jump shot that's like kind of more rare than some of these other players. And it says 6'7", he's 6'9" now. He is a big, tall bucket getter for his size. But yeah, with maturity issues, I think that's where I got him right now. Kyle Filipowski, of all the Duke prospects, I had the biggest question mark circled around him, and I feel sure that he's going to be a good NBA pro. He's 7 foot, and he can stretch the floor and shoot the three, and he rebounds at the high level. Seems like a smart player, and he's got the frame for the NBA. At 17, Kris Murray comes in and does his best Keegan Murray impression, except the left-hand version. And, man, he's just been spectacular this season for Iowa. He comes in and fits the same exact role as his brother and barely takes a step off. He still gets you a steal and a block, and I think it's just a smart player, and he's going to be a good NBA pro. Might not be Keegan, but he should be a rotational player for his career. Brice Sensabaugh, another person that stepped in from somebody last year, like similar to a Malachi Branham, where he's got good size. He's a bucket getter, supreme, 6'6", 235. He's been consistent all year and has been able to get to his spots, and he's a good catch and shoot guy. So give me Brice Sensabaugh. Now, Terquavion Smith at 19. He came back after he could have been a late first round last year, and he improved his playmaking. He took his assist to 4.6, and that's where the question mark was and lies. But I see this kid being a certified sixth man for the rest of your career. And, you need a player that can go and run the second offense and, it's really just pull up. So, like, who knows? Like Jamal Crawford, Jordan Clarkson, players that come in mind. Cam Thomas, although he's much different, but you could see him playing that role in the NBA level. He's got to get stronger. He's got to get bigger. That's for sure. Slight frame. At 20, Taylor Hendrix, 6'9", 210, freshman for Central Florida. Not playing at the highest school, but his game has stood out that he could be a link between, power forward, small forward, and be able to switch back and forth. I like his game. I like him here at 20. And then 21, Maxwell Lewis. I'm kind of going back and forth with these two guys. Maxwell Lewis started season much better, and I was like, damn, this might be like a Trey Murphy type of pick, like where he's just a 3-and-D smart player. His game kicked off a little bit, but he's had back-to-back 20-point games against Gonzaga, so he's done it at the high levels as well, even though he plays for Pepperdine. Jalen Hood-Schifino, I love this kid. Some days, other days, I put him down a little bit because I see just some inefficiencies. But they put the ball in his hands and he go gets it. So I love his smoothness around the rim. He competes. I like a Jalen Hood-Schifino, and then later in the first round, I think you can gamble on a kid like this. It's going to get better and better as time goes on. Leonard Miller is in the G League Ignite. originally from Canada. He's averaging 15-9 against grown men and shooting a high percentage. If that doesn't stand out as somebody with potential, I don't know what it is. And this is that time in the first round where you could really hit on a player to develop. Can't teach 6'10", with some of the fluidity he has. Kel'el Ware, he has a potential to be a game wrecker in the interior with blocking shots. He's a huge lob threat. Hasn't had the best season for Oregon this year, but I thought he was the best big man on Team USA in the summertime. So potential-wise, even though he's not having a great year, playing 16 minutes a game, go get Kel'el Ware, who's 7 foot and can be a rim runner and protector of the paint. 25, Jordan Hawkins, maybe one of the best catch and shoot players here. He's smooth, beautiful stroke, and he gets better. And that shot isn't going nowhere. So at 6'5", being a wing shooter, league needs shooting, go get Jordan Hawkins, who might be the best in this draft as far as catching and shoot ability. 26, Noah Clowney. He and Brandon Miller have been wrecking people, switching. He's shown abilities that he can score in the interior. He's a woeful free throw shooter. So that does give you some concerns on, hey, okay, if you're 6'10", you're 210 on the defensive end, you could switch a lot, but do we leave you free? Like, can you stretch the floor? And Jalen Wilson, I feel better about his ability, even though it hasn't been completely consistent his entire college career. He's gotten better each and every season. And here we are, 20 points, 9 boards, he's playing his Agaji role for Kansas. And, his 38-9 against KSU is very impressive. He's a man out there with the boys right now. And, Kansas might have the best front court with him and Gradey Dick. I mean, that's up for controversy. At 28, a lot of people have Trayce Jackson-Davis in the second round. I think he's going to be a good pro. I've been high on him since last year and since before that. He just does crazy numbers. He has a very large lob radius as far as you just throw it up to me, I can get it. He can play make a little bit. He can dime. I could see him putting in some DHO actions on the NBA level. He can't shoot threes. That's his only thing. But defensively, he's a beast. He's got good pedigree coming from an NBA family and Dale Davis. Like, I don't know why people don't like him, but this lefty, to me, is good for a late first round pick. Jaime Jaquez, if you want just a good glue player that doesn't have a large ceiling, but a small floor, he's got a great feel for the game. He can rebound well for his position. He's shown that he can have some playmaking too with the ball in his hand. So I like Jaime Jaquez as far as like maybe on a veteran team that's ready to win now. Marcus Sasser could do some of the same things. He really can create separation, and he's a three-point shooter. He's 6'2". You don't see many point guards this size, even though Scoot Henderson, with his athleticism, like that's just so undeniable. But Marcus Sasser is reliable, and he's one of those point guards that I've seen like used to always be in the NBA. So I like his game. I thought he would have been draft pick last year, and he went into the combine. He did well. He cooked. He would have got drafted, came back, and now he's leading a Houston team, and he's the alpha over there. And that's my 30 people. At this point, Dereck Lively's got to show me a little bit more. Julian Phillips, Rayan Rupert, good defensive abilities, all of them. Question marks come with, the ability to shoot. Rupert has always had a low percentage. Dereck Lively hasn't got his real footing, but you saw him get 8 blocks against UNC. I would take a flyer on him in the end of the first round, but who knows? Maybe a year coming back might be more beneficial for him and for his career, because when you come in and you're supposed to go top 10 and it just doesn't really work out, maybe give it a look, or maybe we're just looking at Skal Labissiere. I don't know. But I like what he looked like in high school, and it looked like, hey, maybe he can even shoot, but we haven't seen that since. So with that said, I'm out for 2.0. Be on the lookout for 3.0, but I got to give it some time to breathe, and tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, comment. We comment back, and I appreciate you tuning in to Triple Play Fantasy Basketball's 2023 NBA Draft.
Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.